Hey friends, Alan Lee here with Honestly Handyman Services out of Sacramento, California, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about marking up materials, specifically how I mark up materials in my handyman business. So this is applicable to many types of businesses, any business where you have materials or products that you need to mark up. This is what I specifically do for my handyman business, construction business. So the first thing that you need to know about marking up materials is that it's really based on how much you need to make per hour as a handyman. Because marking up materials, after all, is just making sure that you get paid for the hours or the time that you spend at Home Depot or Lowe's or buying materials wherever that may be. So making sure that you get the appropriate pay for the time that you're spending on the job. A lot of guys, there's been a lot of debate about whether you should mark up or whether you should not, whether it's ethical or whether it's not. Personally, you can do whatever you want, but I think that it is very ethical because, after all, we are putting our time out there to help people out. That's our mission. That's kind of what we do. So I think that we should get paid adequately for the work that we put out there. And that includes the work that we spend shopping for materials at the home improvement store. So I will put up the way that I mark up materials. It's basically a matrix. So the more that the part costs, the less that it gets marked up. And again, this is figured out basically through figuring out what my hourly need is as a handyman. I figured that out through a precise formula that I have on my website at handymanjourney.com. You guys could take a look at that. But basically, I figured out what I need to make per hour, what my hourly rate as a handyman needs to be, and I figured out a matrix of what allows me to get somewhere close to that rate while I am shopping at a home improvement store. So as you can see, most of the materials that I purchase fall within the range of the second category in, which is 70% markup. And that is the range from $5.01 to $15. Most of my items that I purchase fall within that range, which get marked up 70%. As the price of materials go up, the markup goes down. So that keeps it fair. So what I averaged for when I go to Home Depot, I figure that my average of what I spend at Home Depot is about $30 to $70 per trip at Home Depot. Could be less, could be more sometimes, but that's kind of a good average. And if most of the items are within that range of $5.01 to $15, then I mark it up to about 70%. So say I spend $30 at the home improvement store, that's somewhere around $21 gets marked up. So that kind of figures in how long I'm spending at the store to purchase those $30 in materials. Sometimes you might be at the store for an hour or 2 hours just to buy $30 worth of materials. It all depends, like if you need a special order or if they're having trouble finding something. But all in all, it kind of works out to good. So figure out what your hourly need is as a handyman, about how many hours, how many minutes you're going to spend in the store to get $30 in materials. If you're only spending $15, then you need to figure out how do I get 15, or if you're spending 15 minutes in the store, how do you get 15 minutes worth of your hourly rate out of that markup, by whatever percentage, if that makes any sense to you. So if I'm making $21, spending that $30, then that might be somewhere around 15, 20 minutes at the store. If I'm spending $70, that's somewhere around, 40-something dollars an hour. $40-something of marked up at the 70%. So that helps relieve the costs of me actually spending time at the store. And also what you need to account is fuel that it takes you to get to the store, fuel that it takes you to get to the home, time that you need to stop at the job to go to the store and get the materials. So there's a lot of factors that go into marking up materials. Some people, they just put in a flat rate on every job, say $60. Flat rate job, doesn't matter if you got $1 worth of materials or $90 worth of materials, $60 on the bid, which will cover material acquisition costs. You can definitely do that. And again, it's whatever works for you and whatever works for your business. So what I would encourage people starting out in this business to do is to kind of work around with different ideas. Start out with the matrix. If that doesn't work, go to a flat rate of $20, $40, $60, whatever you feel is applicable for the specific job that you might have. You could even make a matrix up in your own mind and say, if the total of the bill is going to be $20 or $200, then I'm going to charge $20 material acquisition fee. If it's $400, going to charge $40. If it's $600, I'm going to charge $60. You know, you could put a percentage on there. You could do whatever you want. But I think that it's very important to mark up your materials because it is how you get paid for the time when you're not actually doing the work. So you going out and getting the materials is very important because the customer has the opportunity to go get the materials if they want, but oftentimes they kind of pass that responsibility onto us because we are the professionals and we know exactly what is needed, how much of it is needed, and what the best brands might be as well. So that comes at a price as well, is that professionalism, that kind of knowing what is needed, knowing how many are needed, and knowing what brand is best. That's also what we're charging for when we do marking up in materials. So I would say it's very important. If you guys don't mark up your materials, I would recommend that you at least start doing it, at least on a minimal sense. If you don't mark up your materials, I would love to hear why you don't do it. And if you do mark up your materials, I would love to hear how you do it. I know people watching this video would also want some other ideas of how to mark up video or how to mark up materials. I know that there's plenty of ideas out there on how to do it. So leave me a comment in the comment section below of how exactly you mark up your materials. But this is my matrix here. Again, the cheaper the product, the more markup it gets. The more expensive the markup, the less markup it gets. That just helps cover, like, because if you're going out there and you're buying, say a $400 part, $400 vanity or something, you can't mark that up 70%. Well, you could, but your customer is going to be blown away by the price. So again, it all depends on who your customer is, what their needs are. So, like, for instance, I have property management customers that they own, like, 50 houses around the area, where I don't necessarily mark up the materials the same way that I would for a retail or for a residential customer, just because they have such a mass amount of homes that really bring in the money and help cover the costs when I'm out there buying the materials. So there's different ways to cover your costs, but the most important thing is to know exactly what your need is as a handyman per hour. And again, I have that course at handymanjourney.com. You could definitely go and take a look at that. That's how I figured out my hourly need as a handyman, and I know it would help you as it has helped many others. Feel free to use this matrix that I have if that's one way that you want to go to mark up materials. And then at the bottom of your invoices, you could just go ahead and put lump sum invoice, and that basically just has a lump sum of everything in there. Because again, we're not really we're not charging more for the materials, but we're charging for our time that it takes us to go get the materials. So in a nutshell, that's what markup is. So if you've liked this video, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section below, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more awesome content. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day.